Imagine, imagine scoring the winning goal in a continental championship. You feel the confetti fall. You're celebrating your triumph for 2 straight months, and then you just wake up to a PDF document that mathematically proves you actually lost 3-0.
I mean, yeah, it's a completely staggering reversal of reality.
It really is. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. Today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026, and we are looking at a story that has just completely fractured the global sports landscape.
Fractured is probably putting it lightly at this point.
Yeah, seriously. So the Confederation of African Football, which is known as CAF, just released this unprecedented ruling yesterday, stripping Senegal of their 2026 AFCON title and officially awarding it to Morocco.
Right. And to understand the mechanics of, how a physical victory was just completely erased, we were pulling from a really fascinating stack of sources today.
Yeah, we've got a lot to get through.
We do. We have official government communiques. We've got deeply technical regulatory sports law documents, and even geopolitical intelligence briefings.
Which is wild for a football match.
Exactly. And these briefings detail everything from stadium crowd logistics to, high-level international diplomacy.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to decode exactly how a 1-0 victory that was won on the grass, in front of tens of thousands of actual witnesses, was somehow turned into a 3-0 defeat in the filing cabinets 60 days later.
So, okay, let's unpack this, because we are looking at a massive intersection of sports, regulatory law, and global geopolitics.
What's fascinating here is that we have to immediately discard the idea that this is just a football tournament.
Right.
The games we watch on the pitch are increasingly functioning as just the opening act for much larger battles fought in boardrooms.
Yeah, the real game is the paperwork.
Literally.
Yeah.
This ruling is a profound study in geopolitical soft power. But, to understand the boardroom strategy, we first have to look at the physical reality of what actually happened in January.
Yeah, let's rewind to that inciting incident. So it's January 18th, 2026, the Africa Cup of Nations final. We are at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat, Morocco. And the host nation is playing the defending champions, Senegal.
Right, so the atmosphere is just the absolute definition of a pressure cooker. I mean, you have an entire nation expecting a victory on home soil, and Senegal is fighting fiercely to defend their crown.
The stakes could not be higher. I mean, the tension is palpable. And then we hit the 90th minute.
The dying moments of the match.
Exactly. And a massively controversial VAR video assistant referee penalty drama unfolds.
Oh man, the drama.
The Senegalese team is so outraged by the officiating decision that they actually walk off the pitch in protest.
And we're not talking about, stepping over the touchline to grab a drink of water.
Yeah. Oh.
This walk-off lasts for 17 excruciating minutes.
Right. And most of us watching at home, we just saw players arguing on the sidelines, coaches waving their arms around, that sort of thing.
Just typical sports drama, right?
You'd think so. But our intelligence briefings highlight that from a logistical standpoint, a 17-minute delay in a stadium is an absolute eternity.
Okay, wait, walk me through that, because to me, 17 minutes is just enough time to grab a snack from the fridge.
Right, but for stadium operators, it is an operational nightmare. When a team walks off the pitch in a high-stakes final, they break what operators call operational continuity.
Operational continuity.
Yeah. Consider the environment. You have over 60,000 highly emotionally charged fans.
Right.
When the focal point of their attention, the game unexpectedly stops for nearly 20 minutes, the whole metabolic rate of the crowd shifts.
Wow, metabolic rate. That's a tense way to put it.
But it's true, the adrenaline turns into frustration. Suddenly, the flow vectors of the stadium are entirely disrupted.
Meaning people start getting restless and moving around.
Exactly, and it cascades. Public transport schedules outside the arena begin to misalign with the expected end time of the match.
Oh, because the trains are timed for the 90-minute mark plus a little stoppage time?
Yes. And police and security shift rotations overlap awkwardly. The risk of crowd crush in the concourses spikes because, people start moving unpredictably.
Man, so a protest on the grass instantly becomes a public safety crisis in the stands.
It becomes a severe test of a host nation's entire security apparatus.
But, the sources highlight a crucial turning point here. Because before the situation could entirely devolve into a riot, Sadio Mane, Senegal's star player, he steps up.
Right, the captain taking charge.
Yeah, he physically and emotionally coaxes his team back onto the pitch, and play actually resumes.
Which is incredible in itself.
It is. And against all odds, Senegal wins the match 1-0. The trophy is handed over. The streets of Dakar erupt into this massive sea of green, yellow, and red, celebrating this incredible, resilient national identity they call the Teranga spirit.
They won it on the grass.
Exactly. They won it on the grass, and for 60 days, they were the champions of Africa.
Which brings us to the core dissonance of this entire story.
Yeah, and I really want to frame this for you listening because it is so hard to wrap your head around losing a physical achievement to a technicality.
It really is.
It's like, okay, imagine you put together this massive corporate sales pitch, right? You present it perfectly, you sign the client, and you're popping the champagne with your team.
Total win.
A total win.
Right.
But then, 2 months later, human resources voids your massive commission because you technically took an unauthorized 17-minute walkout in the middle of the pitch to protest the boardroom projector not working.
That is wow.
Right. Like you did the work, you won the client, but the fine print says it literally never happened.
That analogy perfectly captures it, honestly. It's the mechanism of defiance colliding with pure technicality. And that collision takes us directly into the legal mechanics of yesterday's CAF ruling.
March 17th.
Right. When the CA Appeal Board released their decision, they didn't just strip the title. They mathematically replaced the 1-0 victory with the 3-0 administrative forfeit in favor of Morocco.
A 3-0 forfeit. But here's the detail that completely breaks my brain. Morocco didn't even argue about the penalty.
No, they didn't.
They didn't appeal the referee's decisions during active play at all.
Because they knew better. Arguing referee decisions almost never works, because officiating is, by definition, considered subjective.
Right, the referee's word is law on the pitch.
Exactly. Instead, Morocco's legal team made this ruthless, brilliant, strategic pivot. They bypassed the sporting event entirely and appealed the conduct of the Senegalese team.
The conduct.
Yeah. They went straight for the regulatory framework. Specifically, they targeted Articles 82 and 84 of the CAF regulations.
Okay, let's dig into Article 84, because looking at our sources, it is the absolute smoking gun here. The text explicitly states that leaving the pitch without authorization results in an automatic forfeit, full stop.
No gray area at all.
None. But we have to understand why a rule like that is written with such draconian, rigid language in the first place.
Right, because Article 84 wasn't written to be needlessly cruel. It was written decades ago as essentially a nuclear deterrent against extortion.
Extortion, like from the teams.
Yes. Governing bodies realized early on that if teams were allowed to walk off the pitch in protest without severe consequences, they could effectively hold global television broadcasts hostage.
Oh, wow. Of course, follow the money.
Always. Billions of dollars are tied up in tight broadcasting windows. If a team threatens to abandon a match, they could theoretically negotiate referee decisions in real time just to save the broadcast revenue.
Give us the penalty or we go to the locker room and you lose your ad slots.
Precisely. So the automatic forfeit is a blunt instrument designed to keep the game moving and protect the commercial integrity of the event.
But wait, I have to push back on the application of that logic here. Play actually resumed.
I know.
The referee, the official, sanctioned representative of CAF on the ground, he blew his whistle, he allowed the players back on the pitch, and he facilitated the end of the game.
He did.
So how can this concept of regulatory rigidity completely overwrite sporting merit when the governing body's own representative allowed the match to finish?
And that right there is the central tension of modern sports. It's the spirit of the game versus sovereign law.
Yeah.
You're pointing out that the referee managed the reality on the grass. But the harsh truth of 2026 is that the referee doesn't manage the institution.
The boardroom does.
The boardroom does. Morocco's lawyers executed the absolute letter of the law. They successfully argued that the moment the Senegalese players crossed the touchline without authorization, the match was legally over.
The 17-minute trap was sprung.
The trap was sprung. The fact that they came back, scored, and lifted the trophy was legally categorized as a phantom event.
A phantom event. That's chilling. So the emotional reality of the fans, the physical exhaustion of the players, none of it matters if a lawyer can prove a breach of protocol.
Precisely. It is a sterile, calculated boardroom victory that relies entirely on the density of the modern rulebook. I mean, teams of lawyers now comb through these regulations looking for exact leverage points like this.
But a ruthless legal trap doesn't just exist in a vacuum,
No, it doesn't.
When you use a sterile rulebook to erase the lived triumph of a passionate sovereign nation, you don't just get an overturned match. You trigger an international incident.
You really do.
Which brings the timeline right up to this very moment. Today, Wednesday, March 18. The Senegalese government in Dakar has officially taken this out of the realm of a sports dispute.
They have escalated it into a severe diplomatic crisis.
We have the official communique from Dakar right here, and the language is explosive.
It really is.
They state, quote, Senegal cannot tolerate the erasure of merit by an administrative decision.
That phrasing is incredible.
Erasure of merit. That goes so far beyond football. It is a defense of national dignity. And they are backing up those words with massive demands.
Right. Senegal isn't just filing a polite appeal to CF.
Not at all. They are demanding an independent international investigation into alleged corruption within the CAF governing bodies themselves.
Which is a huge accusation.
Huge. And the Senegalese Football Federation is taking this case directly to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, or CAS, in Switzerland.
Which acts as the Supreme Court for global athletics.
Right. But before we analyze the sheer scale of taking this to CAS and the geopolitical fallout, we really need to pause here and speak directly to you, the listener.
Yes, this is a very critical moment for transparency on our end.
Exactly. We are discussing extremely severe allegations of institutional corruption made by a sovereign government against a continental sporting body. We want to make it abundantly clear that we are impartially reporting these claims based strictly on the official communiques and intelligence briefings in our sources.
Right.
We are not taking sides between Senegal, Morocco, or the Confederation of African Football.
No, we are absolutely not endorsing or validating the claims of corruption.
Not at all.
Our role in this deep dive is simply to analyze the mechanics of the dispute, the timelines, and the profound implications of these sovereign governments clashing over an administrative ruling.
Right. So, with that firmly established, let's look at why a football ruling is causing actual diplomatic tremors. Because a dispute over a trophy shouldn't ordinarily command the attention of state intelligence agencies, right?
You wouldn't think so. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, the intelligence briefings reveal exactly why state agencies care so much. The sources outline what they call a $41 trillion shift in sports soft power.
Okay, stop right there. Unpack that number for us, because 41 trillion is, it's almost impossible to conceptualize.
It's massive.
What actually makes up that valuation?
So that figure represents the total projected valuation of global sports infrastructure, broadcasting rights, and the associated geopolitical influence over the next decade.
Over the next decade. Okay.
Yeah. Global powers have realized that sports is no longer just a localized leisure activity. It's a primary vehicle for national branding, foreign direct investment, and diplomatic leverage.
So it's basically marketing on a global state level.
Entirely. When Senegal wins the AFCON on the pitch, the Teranga spirit becomes a highly lucrative global export. It boosts tourism, it elevates their international profile, and it creates real economic momentum.
So a physical trophy directly translates to gross domestic product.
Yes. Now look at Morocco's position in all this. They hosted the tournament. Securing the victory, even if it is achieved administratively months later, projects an image of ultimate stability, legal dominance, and infrastructure reliability.
Which is exactly what you want if you're trying to host even bigger events.
Precisely. For a nation positioning itself as a global player, perhaps preparing for future World Cup hosting bids, proving that they can master both the logistics of the tournament and the complex regulatory frameworks of international sports, that is a massive injection of soft power.
Okay, so these sovereign governments are literally going to war over a boardroom ruling because the economic and diplomatic capital at stake is enormous.
Right.
But this escalation, I mean, demanding international tribunals, alleging corruption, it feels incredibly dangerous for the sport itself.
It's an existential threat to the sport.
We've gone from a referee's whistle to state-level warfare over regulatory fine print. Are we looking at a fundamental breakdown of institutional trust ahead of the upcoming World Cup?
This raises what might be the most critical question in our sources. The World Cup is the absolute pinnacle of this soft power projection.
The biggest stage there is.
Exactly. If nations begin to believe that victories can be legally engineered months after the fact, if the perception takes hold that governing bodies are susceptible to regulatory warfare, then the entire foundation of international competition shakes.
Because you can't trust what you see.
Every single match becomes a potential legal liability.
Wow. Because if Article 84 can overturn a continental final, what else is buried in the rulebook?
Exactly. Nations won't just bring coaches, tacticians, and physiotherapists to the World Cup anymore. They will bring platoons of regulatory lawyers ready to contest every delayed throw-in, every substitution protocol, and every unauthorized movement.
Like they're looking for any technicality to weaponize.
Any minor infraction. It moves the definitive outcome of a sport from the transparent public arena of the stadium into the opaque, closed-door environment of legal arbitration in Switzerland.
It fundamentally changes the DNA of competition.
It really does.
Yeah.
And when that happens, the institutional trust that binds the whole system together begins to disintegrate.
Yeah.
Fans, players, and broadcasters have to believe that what happens on the grass is the final reality. When you introduce the threat of retroactive administrative erasure, you threaten the $41 trillion ecosystem itself.
So why does all of this matter to you listening right now? I mean, maybe you don't even follow football.
Right.
Maybe the regulatory framework of the Africa Cup of Nations is the furthest thing from your daily life. But this story, this violent clash between the physical pitch and the legal paperwork,
Yeah.
it highlights a universal modern truth that really affects every single one of us.
It's a very human anxiety.
It is. We all have to navigate incredibly complex systems every day. Whether it's climbing the corporate ladder, dealing with the healthcare system, or fighting through legal bureaucracy, we all live with this low-level anxiety that our actual lived reality can be invalidated.
Oh, absolutely.
We fear that our hard work, our undeniable sporting merit, can suddenly be completely overwritten by the rigid fine print of an institution.
Just wiped away.
Senegal's 1-0 victory was a lived reality to the players who fought for it and the millions of people who celebrated it. But the institution declared that the paperwork was the only reality that mattered.
That is a profound way to look at the vulnerability we all share when dealing with bureaucratic structures.
Yeah.
And as we look ahead to the upcoming legal battle at the Court of Arbitration for Sport, I really want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We've spent a lot of time analyzing the players, the stadium operators, the lawyers, and the diplomats. But what about the fans?
The people who actually make the sport matter.
Exactly. If this boardroom victory is ultimately upheld by CAS, if the 3 illustrative forfeit becomes the permanent historical record overriding the physical reality of the match, does this create a chilling new precedent for the future of all live entertainment?
Oh, wow.
Will we enter an era where teams essentially play under protest, knowing that the real game isn't actually happening on the field, but will be decided by lawyers months later in a different country? As fans sitting in the stands or watching at home, can we ever truly trust the final whistle again?
That is a heavy, lingering question, and it completely changes how we consume live events. We will definitely be watching closely to see how the courts in Switzerland answer it. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We've unpacked the paperwork, the pitch, and the massive geopolitical shockwaves. Keep questioning the fine print, and we will catch you next time.
Welcome to The Stolen Crown, the AFCON 2026 boardroom reversal. We're diving into a classified dossier that investigates how a match won on the pitch was overturned in the boardroom. The incident report is dated March 18, 2026. 2 months after the final whistle, the AFCON 2026 title was stripped from Senegal and awarded to Morocco. The score on the pitch was Senegal 1, Morocco 0. Senegal lifted the trophy. However, due to regulatory compliance, the score was reversed to Morocco 3, Senegal 0, as an administrative forfeit. Senegal was stripped of the title. The administrative forfeit hinges on the 17-minute walk-off. After a controversial VAR decision, the Senegalese team initiated a protest by walking off the pitch, halting play for 17 minutes. Eventually, play resumed, and Senegal was crowned champion. The key insight is that a team walking off the field, even in protest, deliberately breaks the, quote, operational continuity of the stadium, triggering a different set of sovereign regulations. This administrative forfeit was triggered by decoding CAF Articles 82 and 84. The legal trap was Morocco